Hi, I'm Angela Hirsch, and I'm honored to be your candidate for Chillicothe Municipal Judge this November. I've been a lifelong resident of Ross County, and I've been an attorney in Ross County for the past 9 years. Most of that time I've been in private practice, whether it's been in my own practice, Hirsch Law, or with Benson & Sesser. For a period of time, I was lucky enough to be an assistant law director in the Chillicothe Municipal Court. And during my 9 years practicing law, I've had the opportunity to work very closely with community members, both inside the municipal court and outside the municipal court, and hear feedback on the court system. And I think I can make a difference on our Chillicothe Municipal Court and on our community. Which leads to your first question, how to guarantee a fair trial. My background in business and then in law offers a unique perspective on that question. As with any organization, the Chillicothe Municipal Court is only as strong as its foundation. That means maintaining strong teams, strong systems, and strong processes. The Chillicothe Municipal Court is truly the people's court. It serves the entire county of Ross, and most individuals, if they have an interaction with the court system, it's going to be with the Chillicothe Municipal Court. Whether it's a traffic ticket, an eviction, a small claims action, or involvement with a misdemeanor crime. And then finally, to maintain the integrity associated with the court system that we've been lucky enough to experience in past years. I've had the opportunity to be in many courts around the area, and the best courts have strong, fair judges. Judges that allow their citizens to be heard, parties to be heard, judges that allow and ensure that folks and parties understand the process and allow questioning the process if appropriate, and judges that are involved with the community to maintain a focus with the community. What works with one community won't work with another community. And then finally, I will recognize and remember that sentencing is not a one-size-fits-all option, and I will strive to model sentencing to be appropriate with convictions, with the facts and circumstances, with the victims, and address behaviors associated with that conviction in an effort to ultimately reduce or eliminate future interactions with the court. And that brings me to your next question as to how I would address repeat offenders. Much like sentencing is not a one-size-fits-all option, offenders are not one-size-fits-all. I will dedicate resources to determine when incarceration is appropriate and when alternative sentencing is appropriate. Incarceration and jail is sometimes necessary, but it can be ineffective, and it can be very expensive. With a comprehensive community approach, you can address root behaviors and address sentencing accordingly. One of those options is implementing a treatment court. Treatment courts have been proven to be effective in reducing recidivism or repeat offenders and reducing drug use. It's no secret that our community has been torn apart in recent years by drug use, and that's evidenced in the Chillicothe Municipal Court. Treatment courts can be tailored to address specific behaviors, and not only specific behaviors that led to a crime, but specific behaviors that make people feel like they cannot be successful. A true treatment court also needs to address housing, licensing for driver's licensing, job availability, and education, ensuring everybody has a GED or a high school education. With, again, a community-focused, tailored drug court addressing root behaviors and issues, and that is imperative into a successful treatment court, and that needs to be implemented in our community to address repeat offenders. And thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Keith Washburn. I'm the current Chillicothe Municipal Court Judge in courtroom number 1. I was appointed February 3rd, 2025. A little bit about me: I was born and raised in Ironton, Ohio, and I graduated from Ironton High School in 1990. I enlisted in the United States Army and spent 3 years as an intelligence analyst with the 4th Infantry Division. I returned home after my military service and attended Ohio University for 2 years. I started as a patrol officer at the Chillicothe Police Department in 1995. In 1995, I also met my wife, the former Stephanie Drake. We were later married and have 2 sons, Nicholas and Nathaniel. My formal education includes an associate degree in law enforcement technology, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, both from Ohio University, and a Juris Doctor from the Capital University Law School. Upon graduating from law school in 2018, I received my law license and began doing general practice work, including special prosecutions for both Pike and Jackson counties. I did VA claims pro bono for many veterans, helping many veterans throughout the state of Ohio and the United States get the benefits to which they were entitled. During my time at the police department, I rose through the ranks, starting as a patrolman and ultimately retiring as the chief of police in 2020. After retiring from the police department, I began a short career as an assistant Jackson County prosecutor. From there, I went to work as a staff attorney for the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council. I also had a private practice doing general practice and criminal defense at the same time. As your current judge, I have recently completed an application for a specialized veterans docket. This program is to divert veterans from the courts and the jails to the Veterans Administration Hospital and to help rebuild their lives. I give community service to all persons convicted unless they medically cannot perform. I hold everyone accountable for their actions. I believe in strict accountability. The question was posed, how do I ensure that a trial is fair and a defendant gets a fair trial? Everyone is entitled to due process under law. The United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Ohio ensure that each person shall receive due process. The fairness and impartiality starts at the initial appearance. I always have the prosecutor show probable cause when determining bond or when there's an issue of a person being incarcerated pretrial. Pretrials and motions to suppress are held to ensure that no constitutional or procedural violations have occurred. Trials are conducted in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, the rules of criminal procedure, the rules of evidence, the local court rules, and case law. One thing that is often not talked about when it comes to due process is Marsy's Law. Victims have a right to be heard. It's ingrained in our Constitution for the state of Ohio. I let every victim speak when there is a plea entered. I was asked about how I would handle repeat offenders. I believe in giving a person a second chance where appropriate. I've utilized probation and other sanctions for first-time offenders. When it comes to sentencing, I follow the Ohio Revised Code sentencing guidelines when any sentence is imposed. I look at the person as a whole and the crime committed, as well as the victim's thoughts when imposing sentence. Questions I ask, is there an underlying mental health or drug issue that's causing the person to reoffend? If treatment is viable, I use treatment. If treatment is not, then I impose the sentence that is appropriate in the case. I have given maximum sentence to offenders, repeat offenders, during my time on the bench. I believe in holding people accountable and making them responsible for their actions. I'm a 30-plus year public servant. I started at the bottom, paid my dues, and attained the goals I set. My goal today is to make the Chillicothe Municipal Court better than I found it. I am firm, fair, and consistent. I will continue to serve with integrity and fairness. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Luke Feeney, and I'm running for Chillicothe Municipal Court Judge. Almost 20 years ago, I moved to Chillicothe to practice law, and I worked at Legal Aid, where our job was to make sure that the legal system worked for everybody, even if they couldn't afford an attorney. It was also 20 years ago that I met my wife, Stacy, and just this past summer, we celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary. We have 2 awesome kids, 7 and 9, it's Colin and Marin, who are off to a great start at Chillicothe this year. Some personal things you might not know about me. I'm an Eagle Scout, I'm a proud Ohio Bobcat, and I'm also a cancer survivor. For the past 10 years, I've been mayor of the city of Chillicothe, and I'm really proud of the progress that we've made. We've made a lot of improvements in this community, and this community continues to head in the right direction. During that time as mayor, I've had to make some tough calls and led through some tough times, and I'm proud of where we've been and where we're headed. My professional and personal experiences are what make me the best candidate for Chillicothe Municipal Court Judge. We've been asked to answer 2 questions for you today. The first of which is, what steps will we take to ensure a fair trial? And first I'll say that as a voter, you should expect that fairness starts outside of the courtroom. You should be able to expect that the judge you're going to vote for is fair and impartial. You know me, and you know my experience in this community, and you know that I'm fair and impartial. Once in the courtroom, we have to make sure that the law is applied equally to everybody. That is the essence of the fairness in our system. We have to be fair, and we have to make sure that the law is applied fairly to everybody. In addition to that, we have to make sure that both sides are heard in a courtroom. That's what we did at Legal Aid, and that's what I'll make sure happens as judge. And finally, we have to make sure that in the courtroom, we run that courtroom with respect and civility. You've seen me in my 10 years as mayor, and in that time, you see me treat people with respect and civility, even if we differed. Those are good talking points, but how do I personally do those things? Well, for me, I draw on my personal and professional experiences. I've represented all types of clients, from veterans to senior citizens, from small businesses to villages, from defending people in their homes to try and protect their homes, and also representing landlords trying to protect their rights. I'll rely on those experiences in the courtroom, sometimes high stakes, to make sure that I make the fair decision in the courtroom. And then as mayor, I've been faced with some really high stakes as well, leading through challenging times and even getting calls from the police chief in the middle of the night. You know me, and you know my experience. You know that I act fairly and impartially when I'm executing the job as mayor, and you've seen me do that in a transparent fashion. You can expect that same trust and fairness in the courtroom. The other question we've been asked to answer is how to handle repeat offenders. And I'll be really honest, this is one of the main reasons that I'm running for judge. To be frank, I'm frustrated. For 10 years I've been mayor, and we've made incredible improvements in this community. We've hired more police officers, we have better equipment, we have better ways of doing things, we're using community policing, and we even have a social worker in the police department. But every day I hear from frustrated police officers, the police chief, and the community that people are arrested and they're right back on the street. We have to do something different. We have to do something different. And that's why I'm running for judge. The municipal court is almost always a person's first interaction with the court system. And it's a point where they can have a divergence in their life. They can go one way or the other. If we do a better job, we can decrease repeat offenders. How do we do that? Well, here's an example. Did you know that all over Ohio, and even Southern Ohio, there's something called drug courts? Waverly, Circleville, Jackson, Vinton County, Logan, Ohio, all have drug courts. In those drug courts, they give people an option and a chance for a different path in life, and they're working. We don't have that in Chillicothe, and we need it. As judge, I will implement that. I will hold people accountable, but I'll also give them a different path. We could be doing so much better for veterans and for people with mental health issues, even a housing court. We can help people in the court system, and that's why I'm running for judge. We have to break out of this cycle of arresting people and sending them right back to the street without a chance for success. As judge, I'll be working constantly to tackle the day-to-day problems, but I also will find ways to improve the community because court systems can do that. That's why I'm running, and that's why I'm asking for voters in Ross County to vote for me, Luke Feeney, on November 4th. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Miller, and I'm your candidate for Chillicothe Municipal Court Judge for the term beginning January 1, 2026. This is a countywide race, and I was born and raised in Ross County. I graduated from St. Trace High School in 1994 and Ohio University in 1998. I received my law degree from Ohio Northern University in 2001. I live in Chillicothe with my wife April and have 2 daughters, Avery, 18, a freshman at Kent State University, and Reese, 16, a sophomore at Chillicothe High School. Since day one, I've been a trial attorney. Not long after, I began working as an assistant prosecutor under Scott Nussbaum in Ross County. I've continued as a prosecutor every day for the last nearly 24 years at every court level: municipal, juvenile, adult felony, and 2 different courts of appeals. Now I'm an assistant prosecutor for the Chillicothe Municipal Court and also have a private law practice. I have practiced law in 22 Ohio counties. I'm also the acting judge in the Highland County Court and previously served as acting judge in the Bell Fountain Municipal Court. One of my proudest moments is being chosen by two different judges 100 miles apart who had never met to serve as their acting judge when they cannot. Out of all of the attorneys they knew, two judges chose me. Two questions are asked. How can judges ensure a fair trial? And how do judges handle repeat offenders? All candidates for judge will tell you that fairness to defendants is important. The easy answer is, judges have to hold everyone to the same standards and rules no matter what. That's obvious. But in court, it's not just the defendant. There are often people in the back of the courtroom, the victims, their families, those who were hurt or whose property was stolen or destroyed. I thought for a very long time about this answer, and simply put, a judge should have the necessary criminal trial experience before they ever put on the robe. Each case is made up of many decisions from judges. Good judges learn how to make fair decisions from years of trial practice. In my career, I've had dozens of criminal jury trials, from thefts and assaults to drug charges, robbery, and felony rape cases involving children. I've had hundreds of trials to judges in my career and thousands of criminal cases as a prosecutor. I learned from having so many criminal cases which rulings by judges are fair. To be a judge, it isn't simply enough to be licensed to practice law. A diabetic wouldn't choose her podiatrist over her endocrinologist just because they are both doctors. The people in the courtroom are dealing with the most important thing in their life, maybe ever. They expect and deserve judges who have the experience to make correct, fair decisions on the most important thing in their world. As for repeat offenders, I've had many defendants over the past 2 decades thank me for helping them get out of the system. More than one has said, "You made me realize that being at rock bottom was never going to get easier." That comes from making life uncomfortable for repeat offenders so that their good moments mean more. Second chances are usually good things. The young mother who steals formula for her baby is different than the man who steals cigarettes. But multiple chances are a privilege, not a right. I want to help people who are suffering from addiction or mental health issues, but not taking advantage of second chances and expecting more is wrong. The older I get, the greater the sense of entitlement among defendants. I do not tolerate that with my children, and I will not tolerate that in my courtroom. This election is not about voting for the nicest guy or for a political party. It's about putting yourself in the place where your son or daughter is the victim in court or charged with a crime, knowing that the judge making decisions on that case has the experience to do what is correct. I did not decide last minute to throw my hat in the ring in this race. My hat has been in the ring for 24 years during a career which gave me the experience that matters to serve as Chillicothe Municipal Court Judge. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeff Creed. I currently serve on City Council as the Finance Chair and previously as the Safety Service Chair. I come to this job with executive level experience and leadership skills from the Army and the Chillicothe Fire Department. I retired from the Army as a Lieutenant Colonel after 28 years of service, which included deployments to Saudi Arabia for Desert Storm as a company commander, and Afghanistan and Iraq as a battalion executive officer. As a leader in the Army, I became proficient in long-term planning and budgeting, problem solving, and project implementation. I used these skills during my 32 years at the Chillicothe Fire Department, where I retired as a fire chief after 8 years. With long-term planning and budgeting, we were able to pay cash for a squad for the first time in over 20 years. They have continued with this plan and were able to pay almost $500,000 for a new radio system and purchased additional squads without borrowing money. They were also able to put $400,000 down on a new aerial fire truck. These are the things we can improve on throughout the city with long-term planning and being financially responsible. On City Council, we have protected the Safety Capital Fund by not allowing the city to use capital funds for routine maintenance and repairs and other operational costs. We also set up a separate capital fund for trash and recycling so they can purchase replacement vehicles without negatively impacting the general fund. And for the first time ever, we required all departments to submit a long-term capital plan so we can prioritize capital purchases while maintaining daily operations. These improvements in budgeting will help us weather the storm as we navigate the loss of the paper mill. As part of the paper mill response team, we are looking at multiple solutions for that site while waiting on HID to determine who they are selling the mill to. We have also been actively working with Green Township on developing the 23 North Corridor for commercial development, which benefits the township, city, county, and local schools in that area. I am committed to continue to show up, engage with the community on the issues, collect the facts, and help council make a well-informed decisions when it comes to the city of Chillicothe. I would appreciate your support during the election and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the audience and the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I am Kathy Down, a Chillicothe City Council member at large. I have lived and worked in Chillicothe for over 51 years. My entire life's work has been spent on either 2nd Street or Paint Street in the downtown area. My education, employment, and community involvement have given me the background and skills that have served me throughout my life. My electromechanical engineering degree strengthened my skills in looking at situations and analyzing different options to solving problems. My 22 years experience as general manager of an electronics store and a coin-operated music and games business on 2nd Street downtown gave me the insight into the problems of parking, traffic flow, and unique issues that our downtown businesses face every day. As a former Chillicothe City Treasurer for over 10 years, I understand the cost of maintaining city buildings, safety, utilities, and other important services. As a homeowner, former real estate agent, and a county recorder for 28 years, I understand the cost, affordability, and the lack of housing in our city. During my years as city treasurer, I worked on the funding and plans for our current water plant. The new plant was crucial to our city's ability to maintain services to meet the needs of our residents and businesses. During a recent tour of the water plant, I was impressed with the cleanliness, the efficiency, and the professionalism of the employees who ensure the safety of our water. I drink a lot of city water daily and feel safe and secure because I know that our water plant maintains the highest of standards. We are now faced with a deepened concern of a toxic plume release from the former Wherever plant due to the closure of the paper mill. The plume, monitored by the Ohio EPA, has existed for decades, but with the shutdown of wells at the paper mill, it could become a greater potential threat to our community. The Wherever site sits right outside of our city limits. The best way to address this threat is to be proactive by working together with the current property owner, the Ohio EPA, the county, and state government. The mayor, all members of council, and others in our city are working in tandem to find solutions. Besides the devastating job losses at the paper mill, we must stay focused on concerns with contaminants likely to be left behind due to its closing. We do not want to find ourselves decades later facing similar threats to our health and safety. My promise to you this evening is to do the best I can to represent your interest on actions based on actions, facts, honesty, respect, and transparency. The same standards by which I have always strived to live up to throughout my public service. My name is Kathy Dunn, your Chillicothe Council at Large member. I would greatly appreciate your support and vote on Election Day. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Turner, and I'm a lifelong resident of Chillicothe, a 2009 graduate from Chillicothe High School, and I have always believed in the strength and potential of our city. I am a local realtor and property manager with ERA Martin Associates, and I am a real estate investor here as well. I have seen firsthand how dedicated and hardworking the people of Chillicothe are. I am running for Chillicothe City Council at large because I believe in the importance of public service and the power of a strong, unified community. For too long, it feels like the voice of the average citizen has been lost. I want to be a voice for you and a leader who works tirelessly to ensure that our council is transparent, accountable, and most importantly, responsive to the people and needs of every resident. My commitment is putting citizens first. I'm focused on few key priorities: economic growth. We need to attract new businesses and support our existing ones to create more jobs and opportunities. Infrastructure. Our roads, parks, and public facilities are foundation of our city, and they need to be well maintained and improved for the future of our residents and our children. Community engagement. I want to create new and better ways for you to get involved and make your opinions heard. How will I be certain that the public receives clear communication about the council's actions? First, I will ensure the public receives clear communication about the council's actions by implementing a two-pronged approach. I will advocate for regular, easily accessible updates through the multiple platforms, including the city's website, social media sites, and local news outlets, including the Chillicothe Gazette and Cider Valley Guardian. This will make sure that information is not only available, but is also easy to find. Second, I will push for plain language summaries of all major council decisions and ordinances. This means translating complex legal and governmental jargon into simple, understandable terms so that everyone can grasp what's happening and how it affects them. My goal is to bridge the gap between City Hall and our neighborhoods, ensuring that you always know what your council is doing and why they're doing it. Thank you for your time, and I will hope to earn your trust in your vote this November.
Hello, friends and neighbors. I'm Welcome Stokian. I'm running for Chillicothe City Council at large because I believe in the power of community. And I know that together we can improve our great city in a way that works for everyone. I've called Chillicothe home for most of my life. I'm a mother, a longtime volunteer, and a small business owner. I'm someone who's had to work hard for every opportunity that I've had. At just 15 and a half, I was raising myself. But that hardship became fuel for my purpose: to lift others, open doors, and fight for a community where no one gets left behind. Through years of volunteering, organizing community programs, and helping families one-on-one, I've seen firsthand how policy impacts people's daily lives. That's why I'm running, not just to be a voice at the table, but to make space at the table for all of us. We need more council members who listen, who solve problems, and who get things done. Not years from now, but right now. Here's my vision: a city where development is thoughtful and accountable, with infrastructure, housing, and public services that match our growth. A city that's quickly becoming a vacation destination, one where we want to ensure our residents are considered and protected during this growth. There must be a balance between progress and the well-being of the people who already call this place home. A city that prioritizes youth, working families, and economic opportunity. Because when our people thrive, so does Chillicothe. I'm not the usual politician. I'm a problem solver. I'm not backed by big money, but I am backed by big heart, real experience, and a relentless belief in what we can accomplish together. So I'm asking for your vote, your voice, and your partnership. To learn more, you can contact me by visiting www.votestokian.com. Let's shape the future of Chillicothe with action, vision, and heart. I am Welcome Stokian, and I'm running for Chillicothe City Council at large. If we want change, we have a lot to do. Let's start now.
Hello, I'm Margaret Bennett. I'm a mother, a friend, a neighbor. I work for Head Start as a family advocate, where I learned to listen, respond. I learn and work with the families. I give them resources, listen to them, and give them things that they need. I have a degree in environmental education and also in theology, but I think the more important thing is my life experience. I've worked in daycare, in retail, in churches, in early childhood education, and also I was a latchkey aide at Worthington School before it closed down. And all these things, my job, my life experiences have helped me listen, to provide resources and support to families. I've lived in Chillicothe since 1996. This is the longest I've lived anywhere. I've learned to get to know the neighborhoods, the wards, the little quirks of each neighborhood, where Central Center is, where Canal Street is, only 1 block long. I've got to know people, to listen to their stories, to be involved in their lives. I've been involved in politics as a volunteer for quite some time. 3 things that are most important to me are early childhood education and childcare, senior stability, which I am a senior, and working class values, the values that are important to folks in my neighborhood, having jobs, having safe streets, having friendly people and resources available to them. The question that I decided to answer was a way of providing communication. And I communicate in many ways. I like the idea that's coming before council right now of live streaming. I believe that's an opportunity for everybody to be able to hear what's happening at council, whether they show up or not. Coffee and chat is a good idea. And I'm going to be available by phone. I will answer my phone calls. I will listen, hopefully not too late at night. I'll be walking the neighborhood. I love to walk with my daughter. And I'll keep my page going, my campaign page going with information and resources and stuff to explain, what's happening, what the issues are in the council, and also having office hours occasionally. The most important things for me is that I listen and I respond to people and all that I do in my job, serving council, and in my interactions with people.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Fassold. I'm honored to be running for City Council to represent Chillicothe's 3rd Ward. A little over 2 years ago, my husband of 15 years and 4 of our 6 children moved to this beautiful and historic city. I grew up in Minnesota and later met my husband while living in Florida. Over the years, we have had the chance to experience many different communities across the country, but no matter where we lived, none of those places truly felt like home, until we discovered Chillicothe. While walking the historic streets, seeing the architecture and feeling the warmth of the community, we knew we had found something special. In 2023, we made the decision to put down roots here, purchasing one of the historic homes. Its small town charm combined with the energy of the growing community made us confident that this is where we belonged. Since moving here, I have had the joy of becoming part of the downtown life through our family's businesses. That opportunity has allowed me to meet so many incredible people, neighbors, small business owners, and community members who care deeply about the future of our city. Through those conversations, I've also heard concerns and frustrations, especially from residents in the 3rd Ward, who feel their voices are not always heard. That is one of the main reasons I chose to run for City Council, to help bring greater representation, transparency, and accessibility to our local government. I believe the people of Chillicothe deserve clear communication about the discussions and decisions being made. Discussions and decisions that affect their families, their businesses, and their daily lives. My background includes years of work in anti-human trafficking, advocacy, and legislation efforts. Experience that has taught me the importance of listening carefully, standing up for what is right, and building safe, supportive communities. I want to bring that same spirit of service, advocacy, and accountability to the City Council. I don't take lightly the challenges ahead. Leading a community requires tough decisions, but those decisions should always be made with integrity and with the best interests of the people in mind. My promise is to listen, to communicate openly, and make sure the Third Ward has a strong, consistent voice at the table. Chillicothe is a city with a rich history. It is also a community full of potential. Together, I believe we can protect what makes it special while working towards an even brighter future. I'm excited for the opportunity to serve, to collaborate, and ensure our town continues to be a place we all are proud to call home.
Hi, my name is Gunnar Barnes. I am currently the 3rd Ward City Councilman for the City of Chillicothe, and I am running to keep my seat. So a little bit about myself. I am a lifelong resident of Chillicothe, Ohio. I am a photographer here in town. I take a lot of pictures of just about everything, nature, weddings, events, you name it. I've been on the phone book about 3 times in a row, which is pretty cool if you like the phone book. If you have no idea what a phone book is, you should Google it. It's a pretty neat historical artifact. One of the main reasons I'm running for City Council to keep my seat is to keep my work going of lessening the divide between the two parties, and that we can work together to make Chillicothe better. So I think all like our kids go to the same schools, we go to the same restaurants and bars, we all go to the same activities and different like nighttime entertainment stuff. And I think at the end of the day, we can't have all of this, federal and state, big party stuff kind of affect our small town things, because Chillicothe is a very small town. We're 20,000, we're a population of 20,000. And at the end of the day, even though I am a Democrat, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I am Chillicothe. So that's what I'm pushing for, is to make sure that I can work well with others, along with, even if you agree or disagree with me, I want to make this place better for everybody, not just a select few. One thing I would like to kind of talk about is the Pixel closure and some of my ideas of how to navigate that while Pixel finds a buyer. So the 2 things that I would like to focus on is, 1, ecotourism, and then secondly, it would be to invest in small businesses. So with ecotourism, we already have a great area for hiking, biking, running, you name it. And then with the huge Appalachian grant that we just received from the state to renovate our park, it's only going to further the ecotourism boom. So with that, we are going to include in Yaktangi Park a amphitheater, more pickleball courts, a pump track, a all-year farmers market, which is great. All that stuff is amazing. So once that happens, I would like to see advertise all of that heavily once everything's completed, because then we can bring in people from different avenues and different cities and everything else to come here. And then once they come here, just come here and play pickleball, come check out the farmers market. Then they'll leave and go towards the businesses downtown and this on Bridge Street, Main Street, and Western Avenue. And, that's the other thing I really want to focus on, is the small business aspect, because you see places like Riffle, who started off very small and now they're huge, and they're supplying work for Kenworth. Then you have places like WB Britton, who start off again very small, and now they're a team of like 30 to 40 people, I believe now. And then you have other people like Seth Blewett, who came all the way here from Dover, New Hampshire, after watching Luke Feeney's DNC speech. And he moved his entire family here to start the first brewery in 50, 60 years, and it's properly named Old Capitol Brewing. So watching those success stories happen, that who's to say we can't continue that during this tumultuous time? And if we focus more on this community and focus more on the people who love it and want to see this place succeed, there's nothing we can't do. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Richard G. McCourt II. I was born in Columbus but have been a longtime resident of Chillicothe. I am a small business owner and a husband and a father to 2 grown men who are currently serving our country as U.S. Marines, and I serve on the safety team at Centerpoint Church. I am the current 4th Ward City Councilman. I took over for Steve Barnes late in his term. I am new to the political scene but have found a real sense of purpose serving the people of the 4th Ward and of Chillicothe. It has been an honor to have been chosen to represent my ward and be the voice of the East End. I am a working class person and have always felt the East End is the working class of our city. My goals for the remainder of this term and for the next 2 years, should I be elected, is to make sure the people of the 4th Ward understand they have a councilman who cares about our area, cares about our constituents, and wants to bring real change to our neighborhoods to make it a better and safer place to live and raise a family. I have seen just in my short time doing this that people don't know who their council person is and what they do or can do for the citizens of Chillicothe. My plans for helping the citizens of Chillicothe understand what City Council is and does is to make sure everyone has several platforms to contact me directly, and also to maintain my political Facebook page with up-and-coming council agendas and the latest legislation that has been passed. I am all about full transparency and giving the people of Chillicothe every opportunity to express the directions they would like to see the city go in. That can only be possible by educating the public and helping them understand what we can do and can't do. I am learning a lot on this journey and am passionate about passing on all my newfound knowledge with all my constituents so that together we can make Chillicothe great again. Thank you for this opportunity, and I appreciate all of your support come November 4th.
Hi, I'm John Thacker. I'm running for 4th Ward City Council in Chillicothe. I'm excited about the process of meeting my neighbors. I think of these people as neighbors more than as people that you're going to get votes from, because a lot of them will disagree with me, but I represent all of them. Now, I have had a lifetime of preparing for this because I worked at a newspaper where you had to put your personal experiences aside and realize that what you do is try to find the best truth. And that's what I want to do as city council member. I know that the city of Chillicothe will be facing challenges in the next year because of the closure of the Pixel plant and the release of a lot of people from their jobs. I've had some experience with that too. At that job, working as a copy editor, I was released early at about 57. I didn't know what I was going to do when I grew up, but what I decided to do was to take advantage of the situation to start serving the public, which I was not able to do because I had to be nonpartisan in the job that I had. But now I can be a little bit partisan, but mostly community oriented. I tell people when I meet them that if they want to get involved in the community, there are really literally 100 different ways to do that. Some of them are more partisan than others, but there are ways in which you can make your community better. I have been involved with some groups, which I won't name because they are nonpartisan and I don't want to imply that I'm endorsed by them. But what those groups do is try to make a better life for people in the city of Chillicothe. So this is kind of an extension of that. I've had to step back from some of those roles because of the fact that I don't, again, want to imply that they're endorsing me. I endorse what they're doing, though. And again, I think it's fair to say that the League of Women Voters, I'm not a member of it, but certainly fully supportive, but at the same time very mindful of what their position is, that they don't endorse candidates, they endorse participation in the political process. And what I'm doing is trying to get as many people as possible in an area that kind of is low turnout to come out and vote on November 4th. One of my first votes, if I'm elected, will be on a budget for 2026 for the city of Chillicothe. Those budget will be proposed by the administration based upon what the departments think the changes will be necessary from the closure of the Pixel plant. We have to be mindful of the fact that there may be belt tightening. The first people that should be belt tightening is perhaps the people on city council, if necessary, to take a pay cut. Maybe that's radical to say that, but if that's necessary to show that we're part of the solution, that we don't look upon ourselves as being higher than the other people that will be perhaps let go. I can't anticipate every way in which this administration will try to adjust for that. I'm sure they will make as many allowances for keeping as many people as possible employed. But we have to be prepared for whatever hard choices there are to make, and I'm willing to be part of that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dan DeMint. I am the councilman for the 6th Ward here in Chillicothe, and I serve as the chairman of the Development Committee on Council. I wanted to talk a little bit about adjusting to the Pixel closure during this difficult transition period. There's no doubt that the closure of Pixel is devastating to the region, but especially for the employees and their families. I believe that the city, county, and the many partners involved have done a great job providing necessary resources to Pixel employees up to this point. But there's always the lesser talked about ripple effects on the community. As chairman of the Development Committee, I have been fortunate enough to work with the administration on many transformative projects that will have a positive impact on Chillicothe. I am especially excited about one project that we are currently working on that I believe will work to mitigate and offset many of the losses from the Pixel closure over the next 5 years. The city is currently working with Green Township to establish a Joint Economic Development District, or JED. This agreement will allow for Chillicothe to take advantage of and share the benefits of new developments that are planned just north of the city near Adena Regional Medical Center. This JED agreement will not only provide good paying jobs for our citizens, but it will also allow for the city of Chillicothe to regain much of the revenue lost from the closure of Pixel. As more projects are proposed in Green Township, just north of Chillicothe, this JED and future JED agreements will solidify and strengthen our city's position to take advantage of the Columbus region's influence and certain southerly expansion. I am working towards a new, prosperous chapter in Chillicothe that will see a more diverse economy, one that would offer more resistance to a scenario such as Pixel. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Brown, and I'm running to be the 6th Ward representative on Chillicothe City Council. My campaign is rooted in 3 simple but important goals. First, I'm going to work to preserve and protect the jobs we already have right here in Chillicothe. Replacing the jobs at the mill is vital, but it can't be at the expense of low-wage jobs for people in need. Second, I will work to lower and stabilize housing costs in our city because I believe no one should be priced out of living in their hometown. And third, to be frank, I am running to call out the bullcrap that is the Republican versus Democrat football game that we play every year in Ross County. I want to be a relentless advocate for working class people, someone who isn't afraid to challenge city officials who I believe too often sit comfortably while our neighbors carry the weight of grief and hardship. The question I'm going to speak to tonight is how I would make sure council's actions are understood by the public. So for me, I think the answer is simple. I talk to people directly and without sugarcoating. A lot of what happens in city government isn't that complicated, but it does often get hidden in jargon and discussed behind closed doors. What we really need are open, honest conversations where everyone has a seat at the table with language everyone understands. Nights like tonight show us the truth. It should not fall on advocates like the League of Women Voters to organize conversations our community deserves. Council should be organizing and leading public debates and forums like this all year long, not avoiding them until election season. I don't want to demonize anyone who holds public office. I sincerely believe most people run because they care. But let's be real. Too often our politics are marked by fecklessness and fear. We are living at a time of historical inequality. Corporate profits are at record highs while working class families in Chillicothe are struggling to pay for groceries or keeping a roof over their heads. We watched venture capital tear apart a 200-year paper-making legacy in this city, and while you and I felt the sadness and disappointment, our elected officials stood in front of TV cameras to help national politicians launder false hope. I believe public service is not supposed to be comfortable. With so much injustice and exploitation, a public servant should be restless, not sugarcoating. If you see a politician smiling or shaking hands and looking well rested, you have to ask yourself, are they really feeling the weight of the community's struggles? I want you to know that I love you. I'm excited to be a voice you can trust. I will push for affordable housing. I will fight to protect our jobs, and I will call out bullcrap that keeps us from real progress. On November 4th, if you live in the 6th Ward and you're looking for someone who's willing to be honest, outspoken, and unafraid to do things differently, I believe I'm that person. I'm Jamie Brown, and I would be honored to have your vote this November.